Good evening, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Patricia Roxton Hammond, coming to you live from our studios at Kwabenya Point 1. This is NEWSBOARD. Let's take a look at the headlines in Ghana and around the world. UG lecturers vote against suspension of strike as academic work remains on hold. UCC has, however, scheduled Monday for start of first semester. Benchmark value reduced to 30% and 10% for goods, vehicles respectively. And Russian forces have launched a military assault on neighboring Ukraine. You can also watch us on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube at NewTVGH. And now to the details. The University of Ghana branch of the University Teachers Association of Ghana has voted against a decision by the National Executive Committee of the association to suspend its nationwide strike. In a tally result signed by the Electoral Commissioner of the UTAG UG branch, Dr. Innocent Lawson, 596 UTAG members voted against the suspension of the strike, whilst 127 others voted to accept the decision by the National Executive Committee of UTAG to suspend the strike.
This means that out of the total 723 UTAG UG members who voted, 82.4% want the strike to continue, while 17.6% want academic work to resume. Based on the outcome of the vote, academic work still remains on hold at the University of Ghana, Legon. The University Teachers Association of Ghana has resolved to suspend its industrial action temporarily. This followed an emergency meeting by UTAG's National Executive Committee on Monday to evaluate their ongoing strike. Prior to this, meetings held between the leadership of UTAG, Parliament's Education Committee, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the Education Minister, and the Labor Minister last week had ended inconclusively.
Moving on, the Executive Committee of the Academic Board of the University of Cape Coast has decided that academic activities resumed from Monday, February 28. This follows an emergency meeting held on Wednesday as a result of the calling off of the University Teachers Association of Ghana strike by its national executives last Monday.
As per the approved academic calendar for the Central Region University, matriculation for freshmen is scheduled for Saturday, March 5th. Lectures are scheduled to take 10 weeks, both face-to-face and online, for examinations to start on Thursday, May 12th. The exams will take 2 weeks in time for the end of semester on Saturday, May 28th. Meanwhile, despite the decision by the National Executive Committee of UTAG, some universities are yet to take a decision on resumption of academic work. Two branches on UTAG, University of Education, Winneba, and University of Ghana, Legon, have voted against the decision to return to lecture halls.
Anakra High Court has dismissed an application by the former Chief Executive Officer of the Public Procurement Authority, Ejeni Mboateng, to set aside findings of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice against him in the contract for sales scandal. The former CEO had wanted the court to grant a judicial writ to quash the finding on grounds that it breached the rule of natural justice. However, the court presided over by Justice Elfreda Ami Denchi ruled otherwise.
The judge in her ruling said, quote, analyzing the facts of the case and applying the relevant laws and cases stated, supra, this court is of the opinion there has been no breach of natural justice and certiorari does not arise. It is the case of Mr. J that he was not given a fair hearing by Traj in the investigation report, which found him guilty of conflict of interest in the award of the government projects. In the said report, Chiraj found overwhelming evidence to show that Mr. J put himself in several positions where his personal, relational, and pecuniary interest in Talent Discovery Limited and other companies actually conflicted with the performance of the function of his office as CEO and board member of PPA, therefore contravening Article 284 of the 1992 Constitution. Mr. J was the CEO of PPA from March 2017 to August 2019, when he was suspended from his office, and his tenure ended in October 30th last year, following the termination of his appointment by the president. His appointment was terminated after he was captured in a video documentary titled Contract for Sale, engaging in an act Chiraj considered as a grave abuse of his high office of trust.
The contentious issue of whether a Deputy Minister of Parliament presiding over proceedings can vote or should be counted as part of the quorum will be decided by the Supreme Court on March 9 this year. A 7-member panel of the Apex Court will give certainty to the issue when it delivers a judgment on a suit challenging the constitutionality of the First Deputy Speaker, Mr. Joseph Osei-Owusu, in counting himself as an MP when he presided over the passage of the 2022 budget on November 30, 2021.
The action by Mr. Osei-Owusu in counting himself as an MP enabled the majority in Parliament to form the right quorum under Article 104(1) in order to pass the budget. A lawyer and law lecturer, Justice Abdullahi, who filed the suit, is asking the Supreme Court to interpret Article 102 and 104 of the 1992 Constitution and declare the action of Mr. Osei-Owusu as unconstitutional. He also wants the Supreme Court to declare the whole proceedings in Parliament on November 30, 2021, which led to the passage of the 2022 budget, as unconstitutional. However, the Attorney General, Mr. Godfred Yeboah-Dame, in a defense on behalf of the state, argues that there is no express provision in the 1992 Constitution that stops a Deputy Speaker presiding over proceedings from voting or counting himself as part of MPs present in order to form the right quorum. The plaintiff is of the view that the 1992 Constitution does not allow a person presiding over proceedings in Parliament to have an original or casting vote or to be part of a quorum.
The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu-Jinapor, has expressed dissatisfaction with a cash donation of $4 million from the Ghana Chamber of Mines to the Apiate Support Fund. To the minister, it is not out of place for the chamber to take up the entire cost of the reconstruction of the Apiate community, and if he had his way, he would have compelled the chamber to do so.
It won't be out of 10 if the Ghana Chamber of Mines were to take the whole bill of the reconstruction of this community. To absolutely not be out of 10 at all, in all respects. Your might, your involvement in the community, your portfolios and everything. And I've told the chief executive that if I had my way, this support fund idea even should be abandoned. And the chamber steps forward and says, this is an incident which has been occasioned by a matter relating to mining, where this, that, we take over the entire bill of reconstructing the community and supporting the victims and so on and so forth. But be that as it may, we are where we are. But I need to make these comments public. Mr. Chief, I'm sorry I have to do this, but it's important and I do it. That we appreciate the contribution of $4 million. It's highly welcome. I'm not sure Auntie Joyce will allow you to leave this room before she takes the check. She'll take it right now. She's in dire need of it. And I'm also particularly excited that you've mentioned the companies who have contributed. So the others who are involved in big ticket mining in our country, and the Ghanaian people see the business they are involved in and all of that. I think that the population will make conclusions for themselves. So the Ghanaian people are grateful to the chamber to the extent that you came as a collective. But we are particularly grateful to Anglo Gold, grateful to Chirano, grateful to Newmont, and grateful to Goldfields. They've shown that they are our friends. They've shown that they stood by us in our greatest time of need. And the rest, we wait upon you. And I think that we cannot mince words on these matters.
And on to some business stories. After months of agitation and weeks of consultation with stakeholders in the trading community on the benchmark values reduction policy, the government has finally concluded on a 30% discount for all goods and 10% for vehicles. According to the government, this development, which will take effect from March 1, 2022, allows for a win-win situation for all parties involved.
Initially, a discount of 50% was applied on the benchmark values of selected goods, while a 30% discount was applied on vehicles. A Deputy Minister of Finance, Abna Osei Asari, confirmed the new development after a final meeting between the Finance Minister and the concerned parties on Tuesday. Quote, several meetings had gone on between the Trade Ministry, GUTA, and AGI, and as part of the consensus that we have built with all the stakeholders, the reversal of the benchmark values is going to be graduated. It's not going to be a complete reversal. With the first phase, all goods are going to be reduced from 50% discount to 30% discount. The benchmark values were on two things, some selected goods and vehicles. But this time, we are placing the discount on all goods and that of vehicles from 30% to 10%. She continued by saying, quote, when the Minister of Finance engaged the stakeholders on Tuesday, they welcomed what government has done because they realized that government had indeed listened to them and as a result came up with something that will best serve all parties. Abna Osei-Asare is also confident that this new development will help the government and the Ghana Revenue Authority meet its 80.3 billion Ghana cedis revenue targets for the year 2022.
President Akufo-Addo says the Commander Sugar Factory will be fully operationalized in April 2022. According to him, there are some civil works currently ongoing at the factory site, and by the end of March, all those activities will be completed to pave way for production. Speaking at a meeting with Commander Traditional Council at the Jubilee House, Nana Akufo-Addo said the factory will bounce back soon.
Commander Sugar Factory have started. Actually, almost about 50 from Shawa, Sisa war painting as it was CCC on Chebiano, Yobashase for the processing with the raw material. Now, Mr. President, outgrowers here at this time because the original land now were allocated for a friend and sugar factory, no, about 5,000 and over. No, see, them land na ba ye if ye. See, Commander Man was here, then come on find sugar factory, no. Prot no ha sugar factory ni ready. Name won't to me yafa, into me you are shading no sabi, you crum ho. Now you asasia or was a fiancé side wa yanina na wasa nana himai yakasa ma once we get to there, time no so for maybe production or sugarcane production na obey assassin was the major man.
Still, some civil works are being done there. Nyampa, by the end of March, it will be completed. As I say planning, no Indian phone by whatever, by April, production will have begun of the sugar factory. Sugar factory, about the year some case here. It been say 1 year, Zukoria, na Aquaba, Yami, Adaroma, FEB, say, Muhammad who say, it's Sikwan Paso, nearby. You see, Yenya may say by April, no, Nanyaman so a 2 year,
Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia has urged stakeholders participating in the ongoing National Energy Transition Forum to set a specific target and propose a plan towards the use of gas and electricity-based vehicles in Ghana. He noted that as most advanced nations had set a target to end the production of fossil fuel-based vehicles by 2020 in tandem with the goal of ensuring a net zero carbon emission, it was imperative that Ghana should have a plan towards the use of gas and electricity-based vehicles and work towards realizing it.
In many of the advanced nations, as was mentioned earlier by the Minister for Transport, the goals have been set, the targets are being set. No diesel vehicle production by 2030, for example, in some countries. And so the transition is happening. What are we going to do in Ghana? If we are maintaining these high petroleum prices are going to be maintained, how is it going to affect our economy? Does it make sense to continue in the usage and importation of fossil fuel-driven vehicles? And this is why I'm very happy that the Ministry of Transport is already thinking ahead on these issues and going to pilot gas-driven as well as EV vehicles in Ghana very soon. And I think that is a way we have to also set our targets. We just don't want to pilot, but let's set targets for what we should be doing as a country.
The National Fishing Association of Ghana has stated that it shares President Akufo-Addo's concern that the government spent $200 million annually to import fish. The import is to shore up the country's fish requirement due to illegal, unreported and unregulated activities.
The association mentioned this in a statement signed by Mr. Simon Aga Nafag, acting president, and copied to the Ghana news agency Intema in reaction to a speech delivered by the President Akufo-Addo at the One Ocean Summit held in Brest, France. Nafag therefore recommended the need for shared responsibility between producers and manager and regulators of the fishing industry in the spirit of the co-management approach in addressing the IUU issues and their effect on Ghana.
The World Bank has commended Ghana for considerable progress in economic and social progress in the past 30 years, saying it's achieved middle-income status in 2011 because of strong, sustained economic growth, averaging over 5% since the early 90s.
This is coming after the World Bank Group today discussed a new 5-year country partnership framework for Ghana. The CPF prioritizes investment in human capital, job creation, economic diversification, building a resilient health system, and fostering a greener and more inclusive society. The World Bank Group said Ghana's economic and social progress has been supported by a stable democracy and driven largely by gold and cocoa exports and the development of sustainable oil and gas reserves. The country achieved the first Millennium Development Goal of halving poverty from 52.7% to 23.4%. However, the pace of poverty reduction has slowed in recent years, and inequalities in some areas continue, particularly in some northern areas of the country.
We'll be right back with more news after this break. Welcome back, and on to some international news. Hackers say they have regained control of more than 30 websites in Mozambique after the government said it had repelled an attack on Monday. A group called Yemeni Hackers said they were behind the latest attack.
The hackers said they had, quote, completely infiltrated 34 ministries, including the Defense Ministry. Others targeted were the portals of the National Disaster Management, Roads Administration, and water agencies, as well as the Defense Ministry and the National Land Transport Institute. The hackers threatened to release confidential data if the ransom demanded were not met. But the head of Mozambique's National Institute of Electronic Government had on Monday said that no information was stolen. The government is expected to give an update again on Wednesday.
Russian forces have launched a military assault on neighboring Ukraine, crossing borders and bombing military targets near big cities. In a pre-dawn TV statement, Russian President Vladimir Putin said Russia did not plan to occupy Ukraine and demanded that its military lay down their arms. Moments later, attacks were reported on Ukrainian military targets.
Ukraine said that, quote, Putin has launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Russian military vehicles were said to have breached the border in a number of places in the north, south, and east, including from Belarus. At least 7 people are known to have been killed in Russian attacks, police say. Another 19 are missing. President Zelensky announced that martial law was now being imposed across all of Ukraine. Ahead of Russia's attack, he had made a last attempt to avert war, warning that Russia could start a major war in Europe and urged Russian citizens to oppose it. Warning sirens blared across the capital, which has a population of almost 3 million.
More than 20 people have been injured in clashes between migrants and police in the town of Tapachula on Mexico's southern border, officials say. Mexico's National Migration Institute said about 100 migrants, mainly from Cuba, Haiti, and countries in Africa, joined in violent protest.
The INM said the migrants were trying to jump the queue for permits to allow them to continue their journey north. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people across Mexico head to the U.S. Migrants threw stones and sticks at members of the National Guard, and scuffles broke out between the two sides. Rights activists told Reuters news agency that the migrants were desperate after waiting for months to be given an appointment with Mexico's immigration authorities. Most have been sleeping rough by the roadsides and are relying on handouts to feed themselves.
And on to some sports stories. UEFA is almost certain to switch the season's Champions League final away from St. Petersburg amid the Ukraine-Russian crisis. Russia has sent troops into 2 rebel-held regions of eastern Ukraine, and there are fears an invasion is planned.
Several countries, including the UK, have introduced sanctions against Russia in response to the move. And against that backdrop, UEFA is viewed as being highly unlikely to attempt to host the game in Russia. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, speaking in the House of Commons on Tuesday, said there was, quote, no chance of holding football tournaments in Russia that invade sovereign countries. European football's governing body is assessing the situation before making a decision, but it is said to be looking for a new venue at short notice for the third year running. The past two Champions League finals were played in Portugal because of COVID-19 related issues.
Roma boss Jose Mourinho has been given a 2-match touchline ban after he was sent off during Roma's 2-2 draw with Verona on Saturday. Mourinho went onto the pitch to argue with referee Luca before kicking the ball into the crowd.
The Italian Football Federation said Mourinho made serious allegations against Perito and entered the pitch with a threatening attitude. The Portuguese manager was also fined €20,000. Mourinho made a telephone gesture towards Perito, which Italian media reported was in reference to his father, who was involved in the Italian match-fixing scandal of 2006.
And on to entertainment. Shatta Wale earned the biggest amount of royalties in 2021, but he says 30,000 is an insult to his music career. According to him, there isn't enough money in the music industry and the little musicians receive are used to settle things like taxes. In a post on Twitter, Shatta Wale said that many Ghanaian artists would not voice out and complain about the system or the small monies they receive.
This comes after the former chairman of the Ghana Music Rights Organization revealed on Tuesday that Shatta Wale received immense royalties in 2021. According to him, Wale had over 30,000 Ghana cedis in royalties. That, he said, is the highest amount of money Gamro has given out in its history. Rex Omar said Shatta Wale has not received his money because his team has failed to provide the needed account details. Shatta Wale said that he was grateful to Gamro for their transparency. However, he would use all that money to pay his taxes.
And that's it for NEWSBOARD. Let's take a look again at our headlines. UG lecturers vote against suspension of strike as academic work remains on hold. UCC has, however, scheduled Monday for start of first semester. Benchmark value reduced to 30% and 10% for goods, vehicles respectively. And Russian forces have launched a military assault on neighboring Ukraine. Thanks for watching. My name is Patricia Roxanne Hammond. We came to you live from our studios at Kwabenya Point 1. Good evening.